Hello there, fellow demons and mortals. It is I, Circus, the showrunner of both Belphegor's Traveling Circus and Belphegor's Bouts of Foolery. It's not often I myself speak in a video, but this is a special occasion because we hit 500 subscribers! For those who are new here, allow me to introduce my two indie projects. Belphegor's Traveling Circus is an adult comedy adventure series featuring Belphegor, a soul-collecting demon, who owes a monumental debt of 6 million souls to his devilish boss, Lord Mephisto. Now, with the help of an unlikely friend, Prince Cheshire, he must journey from the dark depths of the spatial plane of hell across the outer world's galaxies and gather up misfit aliens from many different worlds to put on the greatest traveling circus the mortal realm has ever seen. Belphegor's Bouts of Foolery, meanwhile, is a slice-of-life animated comedy show that serves as a prequel to the main series, as it details various antics and events of what happened 6 years before the main series' pilot. This one has 5 episodes, with the 6th one releasing this year. Now that we're all caught up, let's get into the questions. For the time being, BBoF is very slice of life, but there is a loose continuity. While the show is more or less episodic, what we learn about the characters and how they interact with each other definitely carries over to the main series. As we get closer to the pilot, the final season of BBoF will be leading up to why Belphegor seemingly has gone missing for 6 years, and why he's in deep trouble by the time the pilot rolls around. Indie cartoon? Probably Mordecai from Circus of Wishes. They look like they perform very well together, especially with their magical abilities. As for mainstream, I would like to throw him at the devil from Cuphead or Nurgle from Billy and Mandy. Seems fitting for whatever reason. Oh man, the idea of a space-traveling circus probably dates all the way back to 2017. But I didn't have any characters attached to it at the time, just a concept on what the circus itself would look like and how it would function. The idea behind Belphegor, though, a party animal supernatural being who loved to be the center of attention, was floating around in my head as far back as 2016. But of course he didn't look anything like he did back then. 2019 was when he finally started coming to life, and sort of resembles what he is now. Ugh, old art is always so cringy. Where things really kicked off was during the pandemic in 2020, which was my final year of film school. Belphegor, even in his earliest iteration, looked like he had a story to tell, and I couldn't just let him just exist as an idea. The pandemic definitely gave me a ton of time to develop everything. Where he came from, how the circus came to be, why he's doing it, who's with him, who's against him. The very first iteration of the pilot script was written out in summer of 2020. And once I learned how to animate, I adapted a scene from that version of the script as a capstone project. Ever since then, I've been working hard and learned along the way to make this dream of a space-traveling circus run by one little devil of reality. Oh, definitely. I won't give away too much, so I'll only give this info about him. He was a Victorian Englishman named Salvatore who lived around the 1840s to around the 1870s. Let's just say that episode 9 of BBoF will have something very crucial to Belphegor's backstory as a mortal, and why he's the way he is. But remember, he is a soul collector, a greed-based demon, for a reason. Also, yes, we will get more explicit details about his backstory in BTC because it serves as a huge part of his character arc. Wow, this could honestly be its own video, or even a series of lore videos. But I can do a quick Cliff Notes version right now as an introduction. Welcome to Hell! It's a massive solar system located outside of the mortal universe, and only accessed by Hellmouth, an incomprehensible, gigantic living nebula. Let's start from the beginning. This is the Hellfire Sun, the root of all dark magic in the very center of Hell. This is the Foggy First Circle, where mortal souls are judged to determine if they reincarnate as a demon or damned to be horribly punished for all eternity. Here's the salacious second circle, where less demons reside in a Las Vegas meets Babylon style environment, and the damned are forced to be thrown around in endless tornadoes. The third circle, I already have a whole video on already. But long story short, gluttony demons live in a winter wonderland while the damned are forced to starve forever. This is the important one, the fourth circle. This is the greed circle, and where BBoF takes place in. Expect gigantic sprawling cities all built by enslaved damned. Here's the fifth circle. It kinda sucks. It's where aquatic envy demons wallow in the oceans of Styx, while damned are forever submerged. Nobody likes this one. Not even the ones who live there. On the flip side, the fiery sloth/heresy circle is much more pleasant. Covered in warm tropical oceans where you'll find fallen angels and damned trapped in fires for all eternity. Now we're getting to the scary ones. The blood-soaked seventh circle is where the demons of wrath and war reside, with volcanoes that bleed and the ground looking like burnt flesh. The damned are target practice for the angel-slaying soldiers of hell. The deep, dark eighth circle. Oh boy! Horrors beyond your comprehension! The average violence demon spends their days torturing the damned, and the damned will never, ever feel the sweet release of death. Only endless suffering. And finally, the ninth, where Lord Satan and his courts of gods reside in an ice castle so big, it takes up the entire planet. Want to hear more about BTC's hell? Comment down below if I should make a lore series going more in depth about each circle of hell. Cheshire was inspired by a whole host of things. The most obvious being one of my favorite characters of all time, Cheshire Cat. Yeah, not subtle, especially since he even has the same abilities as him, but let's peel back some layers. Lions and beast tamers in general are commonly seen in circuses, especially back in Victorian times. Notably, Cheshire's tail being very long and whip-like is a nod to beast tamers using whips during performances, and Cheshire can even use his tail as one. For his demonic inspirations, he is based upon this cartwheel-looking lion demon named Bewer. Heck, even his birth name is Bewer II, as his dad is the original Bewer. In demonology, Bewer is a demon that teaches moral and logical philosophy, as well as being a healer. Hence why Cheshire is very cool-headed and highly intelligent. Bewer also represents the sun, which is also why Cheshire's head more so resembles the sun than your typical lion head. And for one last bit of info, Cheshire is also based upon the alchemical lion devouring the sun, further tying him to the sun as well as alchemy, which is one of the core themes in the fourth circle, as precious gems and metals are everywhere there. And you bet they all hold magical powers. For Belphegor's Traveling Circus, I'm inspired by The Greatest Showman, BoJack Horseman, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Venture Bros, Villainous, Nightmare Before Christmas, Devil's Carnival, Star Trek, Steven Universe, and then of course literary works like Faust, Dante's Inferno, and unsurprisingly other demonology texts. I'm also inspired by my travels around the world since I've been all over the place, and I love taking what I see on them and seeing what I can use for my show. I mean, the main series is about traveling after all. For Belphegor's Bouts of Foolery, I was inspired by The Office and Monsters, Inc. Favorites? I love all my characters equally. Don't tell anyone else, but Belphie and Cheshire are my top favorites. Typically between 6 months to a year if we're talking about BBoF episodes. Sheesh. I'm hoping to make production faster in more hands, as our team is super small right now. As for other videos, comic dubs can take 3 to 4 days to complete, animated skits can take 2 weeks to a month and a half, and other bigger projects like song covers can take a month to 4 months. It's hard work, but it's worth it in the end. I thought I would save this one for last. As mentioned earlier, I was in film school during the pandemic. Throughout my entire degree, I was hyped up like, oh, when you graduate, you'll be able to make great things and also be a part of great things in the film industry. My graduating class and I were promised so much, then in an instant, it was stripped away from us. I learned early on that because the entertainment industry is in shambles, still is, the best I can do is force my own path. If I can't get in the industry the way I was supposed to, then I'll make a new way. This was my main motivator for why I turned my traveling circus idea into something much bigger. And using the skills I learned from my film classes, I began work. I would actually pitch the very first versions of BTC to my professors, and they all saw I had something special. This was made all the more clear when I created a scene from that pilot script for my capstone and presented it in front of a group of 40 people, including the heads of the film department. They loved and praised it, and from then on, I continued to where I am now, and I'm still going. For those who want to make their own indie projects, there's a lot I could say about this, but I'll narrow it down to only 5 points of advice. Please do research on what goes into making animated projects before leaping into it. I see far too many projects tripped over the starting line because they have no actual knowledge in how pre-production works. Bottom line, have a finished story and concept for casting animators and voice actors. Get this done first before anything else. If you absolutely need to hire a scriptwriter, then go ahead, but don't hire anyone else after that. Or else you'll have a bunch of crew members that are just waiting around for nothing to happen. Sometimes for more than 5 years. Ask yourself, does your story have to be told in animated form? Honestly, some stories don't have to be told in an animated medium, and that's perfectly okay. There's so many different mediums you can tell your story in. Like comic series, motion comics, audio dramas, or even just a novel. Pick what you think will serve your story the best, and play to your own strengths. If you really need to tell your story in an animated form and you have the resources, go forth! Always make sure what you are making isn't to please the audience, but to do what you want to do. In the end, my own projects aren't catered to anyone else except myself. I'm my target audience. Hence why it's about things I enjoy like demons, circuses, and supernatural worlds. If anyone else happens to love what I'm doing, then it's another reason to keep creating, but not the sole reason to do it. However, don't let this be an excuse not to take critique. Helpful critique is great, and has definitely allowed me to polish up my work and catch things I otherwise wouldn't from my eyes only. Feeling stuck? Take inspiration from the world around you. Like, really, the best advice I can give is to go outside and interact with people around you. You'll be surprised how much inspiration you'll get just from touching grass. Accept that not everything is going to work, but don't give up the instant something doesn't go as planned. You'll typically only see what is successful from other creators, but you don't know how many scrap concepts are behind the scenes. And hey, scrapping something can give you inspiration to try again and pursue a new idea that will work. The key is knowing when to quit. For example, if you've been working on a project for over 10 years and it hasn't gone anywhere and it's doing more harm than good for your own health, it's time to quit. If you're still early on in your project and it still has kinks, but a strong hook and a strong concept, keep going and let it blossom into something truly great. And that's all the questions. Huge thank you to those of you sticking around and giving this silly demon franchise a chance. As well as thank you for over 500 subscribers. I can't wait to keep going on this series, and I hope you all are excited to see what's coming up next. See you all at the circus!